communicate with you. If you can, please speak into this silver box next to your grave.
So I'm heading now to the Madison Seminary. So the deal with Madison Seminary, it was a school built in Ohio. At first it was just a wooden frame built in like 1840s, late 1840s. And then it admitted more students, and expanded. And eventually it expanded to hold about 150 students. So there's three spirits that are said to haunt Madison Seminary. So one is a little girl named Sarah, and she's non-threatening. Supposedly, she just wants to contact people, and the way you contact with her is to leave her toy, play with. She was a boarding student at Madison Seminary. Some people, though, go on the opposite spectrum and say it's an elderly woman with dementia. I don't really know the two stories. I researched Sarah. There's not a lot of information on her. Most of the information on Sarah is that she's a little girl that lives at the seminary, and she has lived there since she died. The second one is a woman named Elizabeth Stiles. So Elizabeth Stiles, she's pretty badass. Elizabeth Stiles was a spy during the Civil War, and she's also supposedly non-threatening. So her connection with the seminary, I'm not sure. The third ghost or spirit is a young child named Stephen. I could find almost nothing about Stephen. Aside from that, his name is Stephen. So Stephen supposedly comes out the same. Toys for Stephen to play with, and he'll play with the toys. Those are the three stories most famous, I would say, about the Madison Seminary. Sarah, Stephen, and Elizabeth Stiles. So here's the outside of the Madison Seminary. This is the front side. Faces the road, which is not great. But you can see right there, Madison Seminary, 6769. But yeah, like, I'm so easily viewed. I'm so obvious that I can't go in this way. There's too many cars. But definitely want to get inside. I just need to figure out which way I'm going to do, because the road's right there. Like, it's just not going to happen through the front. Alright, so I have a little cover here. So basically, it's the side of the building, that's the front. Walking up to the front and walking in is not going to be an option. And there's an elderly woman just sitting at the edge of her driveway, drinking, and it's really annoying me. There's a red Jeep right over there. Right over there. That is a creepy old chair. It's a creepy wheelchair. This window just has like 2 beds. 3 on the floor. I wonder if the 3 beds are Sarah, Stephen, and Elizabeth Stiles. This window has another creepy wheelchair right over there. Imagine if a ghost just jumped out right now. Oh, there's a wheelchair. See to the left. A wheelchair is creepy looking, man. So I made it on top of this balcony. It's really pretty, actually. That's the seminary. I can be here or not. You can see the portrait. That's a creepy portrait. Look at that bathroom. I wonder if that portrait is Elizabeth Stiles. So I'm going to take a bit of a different course here, and as you can see behind me, there are tombstones. I was doing some more research into the seminary, and it's now private ownership. So that means I go inside, that's breaking and entering. Somebody's property. That's not cool. So not going to do that. But researching Madison Seminary, I was trying to find out where the residents of the seminary were buried. According to a bunch of articles online, it's an adjacent cemetery. Guess what the closest cemetery to Madison Seminary is? Middle Ridge Cemetery, which is super close to Madison Seminary. In fact, I can see Madison Seminary, which is right beyond that tree. They were buried here. Sarah, Stephen, Elizabeth Stiles, they're probably here. Sarah Crandall, wife of Lewis Jennings, 1810 to 1867. So that's about the time frame that I'm looking for. Madison Seminary was a school in 1845. So it doesn't put her as a child, but it puts Sarah around the time of Madison Cemetery. So I might try the 4 phases here tonight. See if we can talk to Sarah, but I'm going to keep walking. I want to see if I can see a Stephen, and I particularly want to find an Elizabeth. Jackpot. Elizabeth W. Stiles, 1816 to 1898. This is Elizabeth Stiles' grave. So I'll be coming back here tonight. There is a lot to the story of Elizabeth Stiles. So Elizabeth was born about 10 miles from here, and she moved throughout the country working as a seamstress, a teacher, and a nurse. And then she meets a male named Jacob. They get married, and they maybe have a child named Sarah, which if Elizabeth had a child named Sarah would make sense because Madison Seminary has supposedly a ghost that lives there by the name of Sarah, and it's a child. And then they move to Chicago. Elizabeth marries Jacob Stiles in Chicago. They move again, and I believe it's to Kansas. So they moved to Kansas around or on the date of 1862. There was a raid, and the raiders apparently murdered Jacob, Elizabeth Stiles' husband. And his body was so destroyed that it was beyond being able to even have a proper burial. And that destroyed Elizabeth Stiles. Then she becomes this high-level spot for President Lincoln himself. She's a Union spot, and she goes to the South and she pretends to be this pipe-smoking granny, and she feeds information to President Lincoln, and she's almost caught on several occasions, and now she is supposedly a disturbed spirit that even death could not crush her spirit, and she's continued on as an apparition. And she roams these grounds. Her grave is right there. Where she ended up in life, you can't see it through the trees, but the Madison Seminary is about 50 feet from here. So where's Elizabeth's ties to the seminary? Well, guess what happened to the seminary in 1890? In 1890, the seminary wasn't a school anymore. It became a hospital for Civil War vets. Guess what Elizabeth Stiles was? A Civil War vet. She was a spy. So she lived her final days of her life right over there in the Madison Seminary. And that's where she died in 1898. All right. This is the grave of Elizabeth Stiles. Born 1816, died 1898. So I'm going to do this in 4 phases. The first phase is voice record. So I have a voice recorder, and we're going to use that to try and communicate with Elizabeth. The second phase is a bell. I put a bell on the ground and I see if Elizabeth can move the bell or the spirit can move the bell. The third is the REM pod to see if I can get any activity around this grave. And I'm in a graveyard. So there's more spirits that could be here other than Elizabeth. The fourth phase is the Ouija board to see if I can communicate with Elizabeth using the Ouija board. Elizabeth, I am trying to communicate with you. I'm trying to summons you. I know a lot about your life, Elizabeth. I know you were very close with your parents, Clarissa and John Fox Brown, your brother, John Jones Brown, your daughter, Sarah, your husband, Jacob. I know family was something that was very important to you. I'm trying to reach out to you. I'm going to use a small box, Elizabeth, to try and communicate with you. Elizabeth, I'm trying to communicate with you. If you can, please speak into this silver box next to your grave.
Elizabeth, I'm trying to communicate with you. If you can, please speak into this silver box next to your grave.
Maybe there are other spirits, not Elizabeth Stiles, but somebody else, maybe her daughter Sarah, or some other spirit in this graveyard. If you're here, I'm trying to communicate with you. Please speak into this silver box.
Maybe there are other spirits, not Elizabeth Stiles, but somebody else, maybe her daughter Sarah, or some other spirit in this graveyard. If you're here, I'm trying to communicate with you. Please speak into this silver box.
All right, this is phase 2, the bell. Elizabeth Stiles, or any other spirit that may be in this graveyard, I am trying to reach out to you. Can you show me you're here by ringing the bell? It's silver with a black handle. Again, Elizabeth Stiles, I am trying to communicate with you. If you hear me, are you able to show me that you're here by ringing the bell? Nope. On to phase 3. This is my red pod to show you that it works. If something comes near, it will light. There's light in all 4 directions. It's now on. You can see that it works. If there are any spirits on these grounds, particularly Elizabeth Stiles or her daughter Sarah. I'm trying to reach out to you. If you are here, please walk towards me. Again, any spirits that may be here, I am trying to reach out to you, particularly Elizabeth Stiles. If you hear me, please walk towards me. Nope. On to phase 4. It was the wind that knocked that down, nothing else. It was the wind. I'm reaching out to any spirits that may be on this ground, particularly Elizabeth Stiles. If you are here, please use any powers that you can to indicate it on the Ouija board using the beige arrow. Again, my name is Adam. I don't mean any harm. I don't mean to disturb anybody. I'm simply trying to reach out to the unknown. Elizabeth, if you're here, can you use your powers to indicate so on the Ouija board using the beige arrow? All right, on to the audible. Elizabeth, I brought this particularly for Sarah. It's a toy for her. Your daughter, Sarah. Can you acknowledge that I've given Sarah a teddy bear by showing me any sign that you are here, or that Sarah is here, or that Stephen is here, or that Jacob is here, or that John is here? Again, Elizabeth, I have given Sarah a teddy bear to play with. Is there any way that you can acknowledge that you're hearing me? So I just want to catch anything that might happen on the way out. So I'm coming from Elizabeth Stiles' grave. And if anything happens, I want to catch it on film. There's Madison Seminary in the background. See you in the next video.